Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Today is October 16th and the day is Sunday, and our subject is Patience Pays Off. And in regard to this, I have chosen some of the ayahs from Surah Al-Baqarah, from ayah number 53 onwards. So let's listen to those ayahs.
أيها الذين آمنوا استعينوا بالصبر والصلاة إن الله مع الصابرين ولا تقولوا لمن يقتل في سبيل الله أموات بل أحياء ولكن لا تشعرون ولنبلونكم بشيء من الخوف والجوع ونقص من الأموال والأنفس والثمرات وبشر الصابرين الذين إذا أصابتهم مصيبة قالوا إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون
Ya ayyuhallazina amanu ista'inu bis-sabri was-salah inna Allaha ma'as-sabirin. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying to the believers that you should, if you encounter unexpected circumstances, for example, loss of property, loss of life, loss of beloved children, mother or father, so the best way to deal with is to be patient, offer prayers, and say, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un, that we return to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that is our final destination. The second ayah, وَلَا تَقُولُوا لِمَنْ يُقْتَلُ فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ أَمْوَاتٌ بَلْ أَحْيَاءٌ وَلَكِنْ لَا تَشْعُرُونَ. And it has been said that do not say to those people who have died in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and received the status of shahada, they are not dead, they are alive. Our perception is different than what has been given the description of shaheed in the Quran. They are still alive, so do not call them dead. وَلَنَبْلُوَنَّكُمْ بِشَيْءٍ مِنَ الْخَوْفِ وَالْجُوعِ وَنَقْصٍ مِنَ الْأَمْوَالِ وَالْأَنْفُسِ وَالثَّمَرَاتِ وَبَشِّرِ الصَّابِرِينَ الَّذِينَ إِذَا أَصَابَتْهُمْ مُصِيبَةٌ قَالُوا إِنَّا لِلَّهِ وَإِنَّا إِلَيْهِ رَاجِعُونَ. So, just like I mentioned earlier, that we all have to go through the test. Some of us will face diseases. Some of us will encounter loss in terms of property, money, businesses. But that is parts and parcel of life. We all have to face this. Even Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, one day he received a message. Hazrat Maria said that your son, Hazrat Ibrahim, is real sick. When he heard the news, he rushed to the place where Hazrat Ibrahim was there, and he told Hazrat Ibrahim, the son of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, quote unquote, Ibrahim, we can do nothing for you with Allah. Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam eyes were weeping. his heart grieves. But we say nothing except what pleases to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I do mourn for you, Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is saying, to Allah we belong and to Him we shall return. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam has never stopped preaching. At this minute, there were some superstitious people, and they were saying that today the sun was eclipsed. So as the child was being buried, people have noticed the sun was eclipsed and it grew dark and gloomy. And the people will start saying that this situation has created and it is related to the death of Hazrat Ibrahim, the son of Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, no, this is a natural phenomena from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and it has nothing to do with the death of my son. So he was preaching at this time of sorrow and grief. That is sabr, that is patience. The reality of life is death. That is not an imaginary thing. It has to come. It is unpredictable, but it is certain. The path of life has two different directions. One is a straight line, which is Sirat-e-Mustaqim. The other line is curved and foggy and diverted in a different direction that actually represents the world. The world is full of illusion. We get lost in spite of the fact we have all the education in the world, all the religious education. But like I said, we have been tested as the ayah dictates to us that we have to go through all these tests, through thick and thin, and none of us is perfect. There are many things that actually hinders our path to Sirat-e-Mustaqim. The lust for power, the lust for money, the lust for women. Our good deeds versus our bad deeds, which are going to be evaluated on the day of Akhirah. Two impurities governed by our characters. One is spiritual and other one is physical. Spiritual means that if we do not worship Allah, what has been told to us, if we don't follow, if we don't listen to the message of Allah and the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and the important subject is the subject of Tawheed, then we seem to be lost. The other one is physical impurities, which is cleanliness. We have noticed on a daily basis when the baby is born, she has to be cleaned or he has to be cleaned. And when the person departs from this world, he has to be clean before he laid to rest. The Arabic word patience has been translated quote unquote sabr, but in the Quranic terminology it has much wider scope than patience. It comprises three important elements. The first, to remain steadfast in performing one's obligation. So one has to remain steadfast in performing one's obligation. It is a must. Second, to prevent one's own self from committing sins. And the third one, to endure hardships with patience. Those are the highlights of quote unquote patience. Hazrat Nuh alayhi salam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given him long life According to one narration, his age was 1050 years, and he preached 950 years without a break, continuously. Hazrat Nuh alayhi salam was preaching to the people of Mesopotamia. Mesopotamia was a beautiful valley. It's situated between the rivers Tigris and Euphrates. Hazrat Nuh alayhi salam was dealing with people who were uneducated and irrational. Obviously, you need a lot of patience to deal with them. He didn't give up. His sabr, his patience, lasted for 950 years. And at the end of the day, he was saying to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that I have done my utmost. So with your permission, these people demand punishment. So Allah, please send punishment to them. And they are not going to listen to me. They are not going to listen to your subject, which is quote unquote Tawheed. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, okay, go ahead and start building a boat and ask your followers to embark on it and proceed to an unknown journey. Hazrat Nuh alayhi salam gave this message to the people of town, and only a handful of people, after preaching 950 years, look at the patience. Only a handful of people followed him, and they sat on the boat. And the rest of the people were saying that nothing is going to happen. Even his own son, he says, I'm going to hide behind the mountain, and nobody is going to harm me, and I'll be saved. Hazrat Nuh alayhi salam followed the order of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It was a dark and gloomy night, heavy storm, wind. Only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can control this storm. And there was no navigation, there was no direction. Only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was the navigator. In Surah Al-Hud, ayah number 41, it has been said, Bismillahi majriha wa mursaha, inna rabbi laghafur rahim. The journey begins with the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and it comes to halt, it comes to rest with the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is what exactly happened. When the flood subsided, the boat came to rest, and the historians are saying that we believe it is still there at Mount Judy, which is nearby Turkey. Only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows. The second best example of Hazrat Yusuf alayhi salam. There was a small town in the north of Syria called Canaan, where Hazrat Yaqub alayhi salam used to live. And he brought up his children very nicely. Hazrat Yusuf alayhi salam's real brother name was Binyamin. And Hazrat Yaqub alayhi salam has children from another wife, the stepbrothers of Hazrat Yusuf alayhi salam. One day, the stepbrothers asked Hazrat Yaqub alayhi salam that we are going to have a sort of picnic. We are going out in a neighboring forest. So we need your permission. We like to take Yusuf with us. And we can assure you that we are going to take care of him. We are going to take good care of him. So you shouldn't be worrying about it. First, he was kind of a reluctant, even though he loved all his children. But he has a very soft corner for Hazrat Yusuf alayhi salam because he was exceptionally good. In other words, he loved him more than others. And that evoked jealousy in the heart of the stepbrothers. Anyway, the permission was given, and Yusuf left with his stepbrothers. Finally, they went to the jungle, and on the pretext of an outgoing, taking Yusuf along with them, it was a total risk. Hazrat Yaqub alayhi salam knew that something would go wrong. Finally, they came back after their so-called picnic is over, and they said, "Oh, Father, sorry, we lost Yusuf." So what happened? Well, the Yusuf has been eaten by wolf, and we cannot find him. But as a matter of fact, they pushed him to the well, which was actually a dry well. The same day, the caravan was passing by, and he saw the caravan was passing by, and they needed the water, so they drew bucket into the well, and they were trying to fetch some water. Instead of the water, Yusuf was holding the rope, and they pulled Yusuf out of the well, and they were astonished to see that a young youth, very good looking and very charming. So they brought him to Egypt, and they sold him to a person called Potiphar. He used him for his doing all to do all nitty-bitty work at home. And now Yusuf has brought to this place. The time has come when Yusuf turned into adulthood. He turned out to be a very young, handsome, and beautiful man. Potiphar's young wife, Zulekha, developed a very strong fascination for handsome Yusuf. She made some advances. Yusuf, he knew and he understood. He refused and he rejected. That turns into humiliation and hate. And she planned some strategies, some false charges, and imprisoned him for a very long time. Hazrat Yusuf alayhi salam was very gifted. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given him the skills of quote unquote interpreting the dreams. The king of Egypt saw a dream. He said 7 fat cows were swallowed by 7 lean cows, and 7 green saplings were standing along with 7 dried up saplings. The interpretation that was given by Hazrat Yusuf alayhi salam, he said that 7 fat cows means 7 years of prosperity, and 7 lean cows means the 7 years of drought and famine. He was very impressed. He asked that Yusuf should be released immediately from the prison. Now, during the days of famine, Yusuf's stepbrothers came to Egypt. Hazrat Yusuf alayhi salam, he saw them and he recognized them. And he gave them food, and he told him that you must bring my father back to Egypt. I want to see him. Finally, Hazrat Yaqub alayhi salam was brought. Those stepbrothers were forgiven by Hazrat Yusuf alayhi salam. And look at the patience of Hazrat Yaqub alayhi salam. He didn't say anything to his stepbrothers. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala paid him rewards in this world, and of course they are going to be rich in rewards on the day of Akhirah. Now, speaking of Hazrat Musa alayhi salam's patience, Pharaoh's dynasty or Pharaoh was well known. Ramses II, whose mummy is still in Cairo in the Egyptian Museum, he was also known as the Ozymandias of Egypt. The identity of pharaohs that has been discussed by the historian, and they have decided Ramses II was the one who faced Hazrat Musa alayhi salam. The royal astrologers had forecast that one day a baby will be born, and that is going to be very scary for pharaohs, because that baby will overthrow the dynasty of pharaohs. Pharaoh was very upset, worried, and petrified. He ordered that any baby which is going to be born from today will be immediately killed. When Hazrat Musa was born, Hazrat Musa's mother was very smart, very intelligent, and she put this baby in a wooden box. And this wooden box afloat on the waves of River Nile, and a canal goes from River Nile to the Pharaoh's royal garden. Hazrat Asiya, the wife of Pharaoh, she noticed a little baby floating in the box, and this baby was brought up in the comfort of royal palace. This is where Hazrat Musa alayhi salam was brought up. This incident had taken place that has revolutionized Hazrat Musa's life. Another incident that has taken place, one day Hazrat Musa alayhi salam saw a person from Qibti tribes, Qibti, the inhabitants of Egypt, and the Israelis. So both men were fighting with each other. Hazrat Musa alayhi salam got into the fight and he was trying to disengage them, but accidentally he hit the person who was the inhabitant or from the tribes of Qidbi. He died on the spot. Hazrat Musa alayhi salam was called, and he was sentenced that there would be a public hanging. Eventually, Musa ran away from the place. Musa started his journey along with his family to Egypt. Now it was a very chilly night, and as Musa alayhi salam was looking for some comfort, he saw the light coming from Mount Tur. So he approached there with his family. There he heard the message from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and he was given the prophethood and some miraculous thing that he has to use when he is going to face pharaohs. So the Ramses II invited all his well-known, well-experienced magicians to face Musa. Pharaoh's magician came in the ground. They throw some of the ropes that turn into snakes. Whereas Hazrat Musa alayhi salam, when he struck his staff, that turned into python, and that python had eaten all the snakes and nothing was left. Musa was asked to leave because Pharaoh was very upset, and he said, go ahead and kill him. Hazrat Musa alayhi salam received a message through wahi or through revelation that you should leave immediately. Then Musa finally, with his followers, reached the banks of the Red Sea. He struck his staff over the water surface, and the water got parted and rose up on either side like huge walls. And now there was a path that was made, and he ran away with his followers. After that, Pharaoh, or the Ramses II, he followed the same path, but it didn't happen, and he drowned with his followers. So throughout this journey, Hazrat Musa alayhi salam has followed the order of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and his patience pays off. So when you see all these three examples, they are the best examples from Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam to Hazrat Nuh alayhi salam, to Hazrat Yusuf alayhi salam, and Hazrat Musa alayhi salam. So these are not just mere stories or hypothetical theory. In them, there is a reality, and we have to face the reality. The advice has been given to the followers of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam that whenever you encounter these problems or any other problem in your life, then you have to show patience. Pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, offer namaz, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at the end of the day will help you. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help the ummah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us, guide us, and protect us. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.